Hey, this episode is brought to you by the Lone Peak Film Festival, taking place at the Waypoint in Big Sky from September 19th through the 21st, presenting multiple films by local and indigenous filmmakers. Tickets are available now. Buy them soon before they sell out at LonePeakFilmFestival.com. I like it wavy.
Wild.
We are here on Outlaw Beat with Jon Trapp. He is the Division Chief of Wildland Fire at Big Sky Fire Department. He's also a fire behavior analyst with the National Incident Management Team, Northern Rockies.
Team 2.
Region. Okay, Team 2. You got some sympathizers here. Thank you very much for joining us on Outlaw Beat, Jon.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Yeah. So let's get into it. When people talk about Big Sky and fires, I have heard the phrase ticking time bomb. Is that accurate? Or are people just fear-mongering?
No, I think that there's several things that play into that. We have over time, we have an unnatural accumulation of forest fuels. So by excluding fire from the landscape for the last 100 years through fire suppression, which we all thought was a good idea, we have an unnatural accumulation of those forest fuels. And so what we're seeing out there on the landscape would not really be considered natural. Naturally, we'd see places like Big Sky have frequent low-intensity fires, and those typically are the fires that start in the early summertime. A lightning storm burns over, and you have some low ground fire that burns through the area. It cleans up dead fuel on the ground, and it also gets ladder fuels, the low branches, and it takes out trees that are already dead, and it reduces that fuel loading. But we, as a fire service and service to the communities across the West, have figured that have been asked to suppress those fires and to knock those down. And those are fairly easy to knock down. And the problem is, late in the summer, when the live fuels and the dead fuels are very dry, and a fire starts and there's a windy day, and there's a red flag warning, then all of a sudden a fire will move very aggressively, and it'll tend to be more high severity or high intensity fire that's moving through the landscape. So Big Sky area does not have a very robust fire, regime. It's because of its altitude and kind of its sheltering and where the snow falls and where the rain falls. It tends to hold moisture a little bit better. But the things that are changing that we see in changes with climate change is change in these bigger, higher level weather patterns that change kind of historic, and that can be kind of scary for like a ski town, right? If like historically that ski town's got a bunch of snow, and then all of a sudden our upper level atmosphere patterns are changing, and then there's less snow. Not that that's happened in Big Sky,
right?
But those things are happening across the West, where there's areas that used to get more precipitation or annual monsoon rains, and they're not happening now. There's areas across the West that we're getting lightning in like densities that we've never seen. And those are all kind of changes with the upper level weather patterns combined with long-term drought that a lot of Montana is facing. And, those things kind of go hand in hand to increase the fire risk and the danger. So the ingredients are there in Big Sky. So we have to try to maybe...
So it's not fear-mongering.
It's not fear-mongering. It's a valid fear.
There's something to it. It's a valid fear. If you were mothering all of the West and the forests in the West, would you have these small controlled burns going off all over the place?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I think with prescribed fire, we are moving forward in Montana. We've been a little behind the curve, but the state is moving forward, and there's organizations that are starting to pick that up. And just earlier this spring, there was a good prescribed fire act that took place with the DNRC, and so those prescribed fires are important, and thousands of them happen a year. There's little prescribed fires that happen all over the place, but of course, the ones that we hear about are the ones that went bad.
Get out of hand.
Yeah.
Right, and so there's a bit of a risk of putting fire on the ground, but we do have, fire behavior is really controlled by 3 things. It's fuel, weather, and topography.
Yeah.
So, and we largely have a good idea of what the topography is, right? We know what that is. It's like we know where the drainages are, and we know where the mountains. We know the fuels can be sampled and figure out what percentage moisture they're holding. And then we have temperature, RH, and wind in the weather and all those things. And so typically they actually build a prescription.
Yeah.
The prescription is the fuels need to be at this level of moisture. The winds need to be below this level. The temperatures need to be in this range. The RH needs to be in this range. And if you follow those things, and then you provide the appropriate holding resources and firefighters, you can have a very successful
You mitigate
prescribed
the
fire.
danger. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
We have gotten used to fire season in Montana, to smoky summers. The rest of the country, it seems like lately, the last couple of years, has been getting a taste of what we've gotten used to as the new normal. Why is that? Why? I mean, you mentioned climate change. Is it all due to climate change? Is it going to get worse?
It's definitely on a path to get worse.
Okay.
Over the last decade, we've seen more fires, bigger fires, more intense fires. So the fire intensity that goes with those, it's all increasing. And, so we continue to move, and you listen to any news, right? And what do they say over and over again? The firefighters, the fire chief, they're like, never seen this before. Never seen it like this before. I've been fighting fire for 30 years. I've never seen this before, right? And, humans don't live that long on the grand scheme of things, but
Trees do?
But trees do, and we see a fire. There's a fire history and a fire records, and there's fossil records. There's all these things that we can look at, and what we're seeing is bigger, badder fires, and burning in places that they hadn't burned. For instance, I was at the Point Reyes National Seashore, and we were standing at a particular area that was very, it was moist because of the marine layer, and so
I love that area. Good cheese.
Beautiful, and it was on fire.
Yeah.
And the fire managers and the historians and the records, there was no record of fire burning in that area ever that anyone had.
Didn't make any sense.
It's because we're seeing with those areas just a few degrees in temperature, a few percentage in RH, and the fuels being dry can make all of a sudden areas that didn't really burn more.
Susceptible.
Yeah, and probably unpredictably, right? Because they are not accustomed to seeing fire.
Yeah, and I think that, I don't know if I'd use the word unpredictable. I like to think from a scientific perspective it's predictable, right?
Okay.
With
Because
the
of those three things,
right.
We know the fire triangle is what? Fuel, heat, and oxygen.
Yeah.
And the fire behavior triangle is fuels, weather, and topography. Every time, 100% of the time,
Right.
No questions. But the thing is, changing our mindset. The fire that was in the Red Lodge area a few years, 2021, when it burned through there, it burned early in the season, and that was not fire season. All the fire managers, everyone was like, no, it's not fire season. Blew 10,000 acres, right, in a day.
Wow.
So
And it does seem to catch the general public flat-footed.
Yeah.
it does. Yeah, it catches them flat-footed. But all those things actually were forecastable and predictable. And the Forest Service actually over there did a pretty good job of recognizing, they're like, hey, this seems like things are really dry, and they started sampling their fuels earlier than normal.
Right.
So they did, but then nationally, we don't bring on all our our seasonal firefighters until later. And so we're having to adapt. And, Big Sky Fire has our firefighters year round.
Yeah.
But we do have a seasonal fire crew that comes on that does mitigation work, reducing fire risk, and then increases our initial attack capacity. But then we have our firefighters, our career firefighters that are year round.
Nice.
But federally, hotshot crews and helicopters and tankers, all these things have a season.
They're seasonal workers.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's
interesting.
Expanding as fire season expands.
Yeah.
Okay. And you just came back from the Turner Gulch and also, I think, the West Fork fires. Is there something that you have learned from those fires more recently that has taught you a new way to approach these kinds of larger fires? Or what did you learn from there?
Yeah, I think
the Colorado one was pretty decent.
Colorado is interestingly, the governor had declared a state of emergency because the number of fires that were burning in that area, and they had mobilized the National Guard, which I think that is a good use of the National Guard, is firefighting. just throwing that out there as an option. Yeah, and so
to pick up trash in DC.
Yeah, I have worked with the Guard and I was in the military, so I think that is a good use when you mobilize that ability to respond to wildfire. And so when you start to get more and more fires, the available resources are just become thinner and thinner.
Right.
And so it's harder to get on top of it. And then we saw what happened to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. With that fire there that burned all the facilities on the north rim and the old historic lodge.
Yeah.
And they were operating the best they could, but with limited resources. About the time they realized that they needed more, it was too late. And so we have to recognize that is the intensity can be developed quickly.
Right. And God forbid you're working on one of these fires and you actually need to come home and work on something that's here. I mean, what would happen in one of those situations? How do you respond? Like if you're working on a fire and there's a fire that happens and a fire happens in Big Sky.
Right.
Do you have to just leave that fire and come here?
No, typically, Big Sky has a lot of capacity to operate without me. So,
Okay.
yeah, they would be fine without me. Of course, I want to be there because it's my community that I'm part of wanting to protect.
Yeah.
But to do that well, like to protect our community, we have to go out and build that knowledge that we can bring back. And hopefully we are back when those things happen. So. So it's kind of a balance, and when things get really hot and dry in Big Sky and the conditions are bad, typically we do stay.
Okay.
Like that's when we're like, we can't go out right now, and we have to tell our national teams or our other that we have to stay local, and we end up supporting our neighboring forests, over in the Madison, and we cover our area first.
What's the top mistake that people make when it comes to wildfires?
I think that people that live in wildfire-prone areas, is that the question? Homeowners. I think that people need to understand, right, that idea that we were just talking about of what is natural and what is unnatural, and then to have a better understanding of how fire moves. It doesn't move like a tidal wave. And we hear that on the news all the time. Oh, there's a wall of fire. Most structures that burn down from wildfires are burning down because of fire embers that are lofted from a fire that may be a mile away. It might be 2 miles away. Flaming pine cones raining on your house because the convective heat column goes up, catches the prevailing winds that are blowing, and then all of a sudden you have raining embers all over your house.
Way before the fire reaches you.
Actually reaches, I think that's what was happening in the Palisades, where so many things kept burning and they just couldn't control it.
Right, and local fire resources are not designed to engage that many fires. Like at any given time over the winter, we have a structure fire. We have 2 structure fires, right? We work, and our neighbors support us. We work together. We support the Big Sky supports the Bozeman area. Bozeman supports the Big Sky. We help each other and it's not a problem. We can respond to multiple structure fires, 2 structure fires, and do well at it, right? Yeah. But when you have 30 structure fires, you can no longer do it, and we have to do this thing called triage, just like they do in the medical field, right? World War I, World War II. Not everyone's going to live who has the greatest chance of living. Yeah. And you have to make those tough decisions. But the homeowners that do the work ahead of time and reduce the fuels around and move the combustibles off their porch and make sure that their eaves and vents are closed and have non-combustible screening and have metal roofs, and right, there's a lot of things that reduce the vegetation around their homes. Those have a better chance of standing alone, because they often will have to stand alone. Right. Because we'll be fighting fire somewhere.
So go over what homeowners need to do again. They need to have metal roofs, right?
Or non-combustible.
Non-combustible. Got it. Okay.
Clearing out brush.
What
metal
else?
Screens.
Yeah. So your vents and eaves. Yeah. The siding can be non-combustible siding, and in the vegetation around the home, especially that 0 to 5 foot area from your home, that should be a non-combustible. It shouldn't be like trees growing up, because that helps transition fire, and that in that way it's direct conductive heat transfer versus radiant heat transfer.
I'm guessing trees hanging over the roof also bad.
Yep, and that usually causes the gutters.
I like the shade, though.
Yeah, and there's ways to do it.
I know.
There's actually ways to have trees. You don't have to cut all the trees.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you do have a pine tree over the top of your house and it's dropping needles, you got to make sure that your gutters are cleared out.
Yeah.
Because you can have a non-combustible roof, but if your gutters are full of needles, fire can actually transition under the metal roof into the roof line.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And I've seen that more than once. And so it's like a combination of things. It's all choices that we can make, and some of them are more affordable than others. Yeah. Some of them are easier than others.
Sounds like some are easy. You could do them this weekend. Mm-hmm. Clear out your gutters, clear out some of that brush, and some of them are more major structural overhauls.
Firewood, right? It's great to have the firewood on the deck in the wintertime because it's easy to get to and you can keep your fire going. But when you get into fire season, you need to move that firewood away from your.
Because a lot of people pretty far away.
Sure. Well, we don't have much, but
used to.
that's a super good point. That is
I never thought about that.
A bunch of fuel waiting to catch fire.
And we'll still see that well into the summer, where people have firewood stacked on their deck, their wood decks, with the and so if embers find their way into that, it will catch. And firewood's usually dry. If you have good firewood, right?
So during some fires, people stay home and they're like, I am protecting the realm. I am going to do my very best. I'm going to continuously hose my house down while this fire is raging all around me. What are your thoughts on that?
I've been to homes that and dealt with homeowners that I've looked at their place. I've looked at them and I've said, you can stay here if you want. Okay. Because they had done enough work that there was very low risk to their structure. Okay. And so, like I said, often it's fire embers that get them. And if you were there and you've done all the other mitigation work and taken all the right steps, a lot of times those little incipient fires that start, they're just in the corner of the deck because some embers accumulated. Wow. And if no one's there, over time that transitions. That's kind of the sort of thing with like Sperry Chalet that burned down, right? It had rocks all around it, and it didn't seem like. But if you have enough embers that accumulate, and there's no one there to be able to put those out, so it really depends on each situation. And so if someone is considering staying at their house during a wildfire, I think that's worth a very good discussion with your local fire department.
Discuss it with your fire chief first. Yeah. Don't just go rogue.
Call an audible.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I could stay.
That's interesting. Scooper planes. Mm-hmm. What's better, the scooper plane with water or the scooper plane that drops the pink sawdust? That
that seems so terrifying.
It's the same stuff janitors use to cover vomit.
Right?
Yeah, Disneyland.
Or you just cover a rug over your dog vomit, right?
Yeah.
So the typical tankers that fly, they carry retardant, and that is a slurry that's designed to break up that reaction between oxygen, fuel, and heat, right? It kind of prevents that oxygen from reaching the fuel. That's what retardant
It's
does.
like a little bit of a blanket.
It's like a blanket. So if it's applied correctly, it will slow fire progression.
Okay.
In some areas, it'll stop it completely, depending on the fuel composition. If it's grasses, or it varies. If you have a thick forest, like with a closed canopy, it's hard for retardant to actually work. It's designed to come through the canopy and cover the ground fuels.
To get to the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it needs to be placed, but you can use it to buy your firefighters some time.
Okay.
Even if we know that it's not going to stop it there, but it gives us some more time to prepare, it can be utilized that way.
Versus the scooper planes with water.
So those are directly impacting the heat component, right? They're putting water directly onto the fire. Retardant is dropped ahead of the fire, so the fire burns towards the retardant line, and the scoopers are dropping water directly on to the fire. They can do some pre-treatment of some fuels ahead, and there's a lot of ways that we can tactically utilize fire suppression resources, from helicopters to scoopers to tankers.
In an ideal world, you want both?
It really depends on the
So it's
situation.
Like, yeah,
The
'cause
fire.
you've got heat.
Okay.
And the other, I don't know. I would imagine you'd want to tackle it both ways.
Specific
right?
fires call for different
Right.
ways of fire.
Yeah. And then big fires will often have they'll all be working, right? And
Yeah.
so that's where you need to elevate your level of management. And that's when you start to bring in air attack. Someone's flying around in a plane and they're coordinating the tankers, they're coordinating the helicopters. When the tankers are coming in to drop a bunch of slurry, we want to make sure the helicopters aren't in the way.
Yeah.
Right. We also want to make sure that the ground firefighters are out of the way, because the amount of force that comes down from that retardant drop is impressive. It
Wow.
knocks huge limbs out of the trees,
Jeez.
and that can hit firefighters.
Right.
Or just a straight retardant drop on a firefighter can knock them over. So
I'd be a terrible
we
firefighter.
try.
I would just be in a blind panic the whole time. I had a friend that was a smoke jumper, and I was like, hats off. But like, no.
Yeah. There's no hot shot.
I'm one of those people that,
part
like,
of you.
when I panic, I go blank. It's not a good thing. Yeah. I would just
Perfect.
sit
It
there
sounds
and burn.
perfect for
I
the
would
fire
just-
service.
I know. I'm great at teaching.
All right.
Right.
We are done with questions. Okay. I want to play
Never
a game.
know what the game is, by the way.
This,
You should know this. I don't know what we're
But
doing.
you actually, this is not gonna catch you off guard. This game is called That's Fire. Okay. If the things that Michelle and I say are true, you say that's fire or that's so fire. It's up to you. If they're
You can
false,
say it like a teenager if you want
pour
to.
cold water
So
on
fire.
it. Okay. Just say I pour cold water on that.
Water.
All
Okay.
right. If
You
it's
can just
not
say pour
true,
cold water.
Okay. So
You can say
We'll start.
cold water.
got
Listen.
it. Retardant drop versus helicopter bucket drop.
sure. Whatever you want to say, I just need you to say that's
yeah.
fire.
Whatever
a
you
lot.
need to do.
Whatever it is.
Okay, so we'll start with this. Here's my first statement. If a fire spreads to Big Sky, it will likely come from the south or the southwest.
Wait, hold on. This is a complicated question. So the prevailing,
Which is fine. It's fine to have a complicated
Can I
answer.
actually explain my answer?
Please.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I would say that's probably a little bit of both.
Okay.
So the prevailing wind does come from the southwest. And so that's where often we would kind of plan, in the absence of any other information, that it may come from the southwest.
It's complicated, Joe.
Good.
But we often have wind shifts and wind events, and especially if you have a cold front passage or something coming through the area, which often accompanies dry lightning or something like that. All of a sudden, the wind is going 180 to that direction. So we can generalize the southwest, but it's really going to be situation dependent.
Okay. That's fire, and you're pouring cold
It's
water.
a terrible question, Joe. God.
So I want everybody to know this. A lot of this is coming from the Big Sky Wildfire Action Guide. Very helpful resource for everyone as you're thinking through your strategies for dealing with.
Did I counter what was in here?
I don't know that that's even in there. That's just something Mel Crichton mentioned last week.
And that is true at a general planning level. He is correct.
All right. That's fire, Michelle. Your turn.
Okay.
You're up.
I'm going to hold this up while looking at my question without my glasses on. You know what I'm saying? You can expect a warning call from a member of the Big Sky Fire Department thanks to the calling tree it has set up.
Water.
You're pouring cold water.
Cold water on that one, yeah.
I have a calling tree as a teacher.
How are people going to find out?
So there is a QR code and they need to register for Everbridge. So on the back of this, there's a way to scan for alerts.
Okay.
And it's not a phone tree. It would be a text notification.
You're going to get a text.
Yeah. So you will not get a phone call from me directly.
All right. Good. Ember showers can travel up to a mile ahead of the fire front.
Fire.
That's fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we've already covered this.
It's fire plus.
Yes. Let's see. How much warning do people normally have when the...
You're looking at the wrong side.
Oh my God, you're right.
We're in this.
The number one cause... I would like to ask another question, please. I would like to buy a vowel. The number one cause of wildfires in Montana is humans, not lightning.
No. So...
Cold water.
Yeah, but in the other parts in the West, that is the case. There is more human-caused fire. It's close to 50-50.
50-50? Got it.
Yeah, but typically, historically, it's been more lightning-caused.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little bit of fire and water.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
In the event of a wildfire, you should grab a couple beers and head for a fairway at the Big Sky golf course.
Me personally, I think that's what I'll do.
That's fire.
No.
That's what Mel said.
Well, no, I think that is fire to a certain degree, right?
Really?
My issue is I'm always like, it depends, right?
It depends on where the
like,
fire.
There's a lot of factors, and Mel, I do support Mel's suggestion 100%. But there, depending on where you are, will depend on and what the guidance is from the text alert that you got because you signed up.
Okay.
It may say stay put and open your beer, right? Or it may say bring your lawn chair to the...
But there are three main shelter-in-place locations in Big Sky.
Yes. Yep.
It's the high school, it's the golf course, and it is Big Sky Resort parking lot.
Yeah, there's actually... So they did add the fourth on here. You see that there's 4?
Oh, base.
Yeah,
right.
Base.
Wow,
Okay.
Joe.
Wow. So
Dude,
yeah,
you
those
left
are
out
one of
Base.
the areas that you would head to if you were going to leave.
Okay.
4
We
main
don't-
places, guys. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
Got it?
I'll put it up there on the screen.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Has anyone tried to drive into Big Sky on a powder day?
Woo!
So imagine a fire that's suddenly causing everyone to flee, and think about how well the roads are gonna function.
Yeah. Which brings us to the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle, read that one.
If you do, but it's been a long day, Joe. If you do evacuate while all the suckers are heading for the canyon, your best bet, and I know this can't be true, but maybe it is. Your best bet is to go to Big Sky's best kept secret, Jack Creek Road.
Oh.
I don't know if it's the best kept secret. It's terrifying, that road.
That's water.
Yeah, cold water.
It's water. I mean, there may be some. Again, we
they
want to
fix it.
keep our flexibility open.
Yeah.
As to what the situation is, what's happening at the time, and there may be some people that at some point that does make sense, but generally that is not the preferred route because it's a forested, windy road, and so the sheriff's department will be a big part of kind of determining which way people go. We'll be working hand in hand with the Gallatin County Sheriff's deputies to kind of decide where are we going to tell people to head.
Yeah.
And so, but in the back of our minds, we always think about the what ifs.
Okay.
Got it.
Your emergency go bag should contain all your highest priced possessions in street value.
I guess that's
Full water.
that's person dependent.
Case by case.
Case by case. So yeah, I think no, the go bag, right,
Yeah.
should be, and that's the Ready, Set, Go program that the International Association of Fire Chiefs and that we tell people about. It tells you what do you need to take? What do you think you need to take? I bet you guys already know a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Is that the way it works?
My
Am I allowed
children.
to ask you guys questions?
My children, pictures, important
Sure.
photos, things like
Okay.
that.
Things that are irreplaceable, like
pets.
that. Pets, children,
Yeah.
probably some food, water, cash, pistol.
Sure. Well, we are
We
in
don't
Montana.
have a pistol.
What? Oh, you better get one so that you can evacuate with one. The other thing is medication, right?
Medication,
So
yeah.
think
Right.
about when we're leaving, we're not going to have immediate access to some of those things. And when you leave, you may not be back quickly, or it's a potential you may never be able to go back to that house. May not be there, right? In worst case scenario. So, but the Ready, Set, Go program. And the Big Sky Fire resources and the Big Sky Fire Hub, which is a great resource. It tells you things to consider in that go bag.
Okay.
So when you get to fire season or there's fires burning by and there's a bunch of smoke in the air nearby, you might think, maybe I should be thinking. You might want to have a checklist by your door, because when it's panic time, we don't think very well. So having that checklist ahead of time of what those important things are, right? You'd be fine.
Good. All right. Thank you.
It depends on the crisis. Yeah. There's just I found this out about myself when the guy in the middle of the night. Remember when I was driving and somebody hurled themselves onto my windshield? I just froze. I was like, oh, I'm a freezer. And it was horrible. That's the only emergency situation I've done that in, but I was like, what if I'm in a big emergency?
Thank God you
Depends on-
survived.
Fight, flight, or freeze, huh?
I guess I
You hit the freezer and
I
freeze?
froze. It's
All right, let's
fine.
keep going.
Don't count on me. So next question is, keep your car's fuel tank close to empty to reduce risk of explosion in the heat of a fire. I'd be fine in most situations.
No, water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to have your tank.
I'm a quarter tank person.
Yeah, above, during that season, because you, in an evacuation line, if you do get stuck in traffic, you don't want to run out of fuel while you're waiting, right?
Yeah. Or if
So-
you're in the winter and you get stuck with no heater.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother, right? Keep your fuel.
Yes.
If you see woodland creatures struggling to escape the fire, encourage them to jump in your car.
Depends on the woodland creature. I mean, I'm going to answer for myself, but yeah.
You're
I mean,
also
it's
a
a
wolf
rabbit.
expert.
Yeah.
What do
It's a
you
rabbit.
say, John?
It's a cute little bunny. Be like, sure.
Yeah, no, water. I kind of avoid that.
They'll be
Badgers.
fine.
Be like Tommy Boy when he threw the elk or
Right,
the deer
the
in the back
deer.
of his car
Oh,
and
yeah.
then woke up and shredded his convertible.
That was funny.
Be like that.
That's not
Very
what you
funny
want
movie.
in an
No.
evacuation
No.
situation.
I'm
Okay.
driving down the road
helpful.
with 15 badgers
you.
in my back seat. Fire season in Montana is now weeks longer than it was 30 years ago.
Fire.
Fire.
Yeah.
Bummer. Bummer.
Yeah. And it looks to be getting worse. The best way to stay up to date is to follow the Big Sky Fire Department Instagram.
I think we have an Instagram.
You're like, shoot.
We could. I'm still
It sounds
figuring.
like it's the QR
Yeah,
code.
I'm still figuring out the
So it's
all that. I
water.
know that our Facebook page, we do update things on there, but we would be, the alerts are going to be the way to get things, and then and you can always call the fire department, but we will try to post things and make it available on the Big Sky Fire Hub.
Okay.
And then hopefully I'm not in trouble from the chief about not knowing about our Instagram account.
No, I don't think. Don't worry about the Instagram account. But you were telling me about the Watch Duty app that it sounds like would be very helpful for people to keep an eye on fires.
Yeah, that kind of gives you an idea. It's a free app that you can download. It kind of shows the fires that are burning in your area. It would not be the thing to give you the notifications that you need. It would be a secondary sort of
Broad overview.
yeah, a
of the
broad
area.
overview of what's happening. And you can, when a fire does start in your area, you can activate. It's got a little alert that you can click on, and any new updates that come on that fire will ping on your phone. And so when they do updates on the fire, you can see what's happening. So,
Great.
But all of this is a poor substitute for downloading the Wildfire Action Guide, and it's in the show notes. We're making it really easy. The description of every video that we put out. Get that, read it. That's all for the That's Fire game. And
fire.
also, that's all for this interview. Thank you so much, Jon Trapp, for joining us on Outlaw Beat and
Thank you for your
helping
time.
to keep us all safe.
yeah, thank you for having me.